Okay. All right. That was all the announcements I have. Now I want to go into talking with Stephanie because I know that's why you're really here, right? Okay. Are you unmuted, Stephanie? Did you figure that out?
I am.
Okay, good. Perfect. All right. So first of all, Stephanie, tell us a little bit about your doTERRA story, where you are, how you were enrolled, and all of that stuff.
I started with doTERRA about 2 years ago, and I was a essential oil hater. I was on Facebook saying these oils don't work and things like that. So, yep. Don't give up on those people. And then I used them for different sicknesses, things like that with my kids, and I would use it maybe once, and it didn't work. And so people would ask me, well, how often are you using it and all of that. So eventually I started using them consistently and frequently, which I stress now. And I really saw the difference, and it made a big difference. My husband has diverticulitis, and that's kind of always my story that I share with people. He would get on medicine, he'd have horrible side effects, it would cost us a ton of money. And when we used essential oils, the next time he had a bout, he was fine in 3 days. And it cost probably $4 in oils. So that's kind of my story. And then I remember at one point I met a person here. Oh, I burned my face with oregano and had to wear a Band-Aid over my face for a long time. And so I was trying to find a doTERRA person here because I'm in Texas. I was trying to find oils to help my face. And I found somebody, and she said, hey, I've been doing this for 6 months and I'm already making $2,000 a month. And I have been working from home for attorneys since my daughter was born. And I thought, well, hey, I'm not even making that now. Maybe I need to look into this more. And so I kind of just jumped in and asked questions later. I didn't know what I was doing. I just decided to have a class, and Kari taught it online. I invited some people, and Kari taught it. And my next class, I showed a video of somebody else teaching because I still didn't even know what I was doing or what oils were, and I was terrified. I was terrified of public speaking. So the thought of speaking to a group was just way out of my comfort zone. But I really believe in the oils. I believe in the business. And so I just dove in and had a kind of rocky first start, but I had people enroll at that first meeting. I had, 3 out of 4. So, and then it just went on from there. And I just kind of had a lot of classes and just invited everybody I could think of. And being new to Texas, that wasn't a whole lot of people. So it took some time to kind of build a network and get outside my warm market. So
how can you explain that a little bit? Because I know you're not from, you have enrolled some people in our area, right? In Greensboro area, but a lot of your team members are down there. And how did you do that? How did you network in a place that you weren't really from?
We had started going to a church about 6 months before I started with the business. And so I just invited everybody I knew there. I just texted and emailed and continued to do that until people finally came. I was probably got annoying over time. And honestly, I didn't do a good job about getting outside of my warm market until I was listening to some webinar and they were talking about it, and I was kind of at that place of feeling stuck. Like I'd shared with everybody I knew, now what? Mm-hmm. And so I started really stressing at classes. If anybody wants to have a class, here's my schedule. I would have it right there, and I would offer an oil if they scheduled the class right there. And I started getting outside my warm market. And so it was really exciting when somebody would have a class for me that was a friend of a friend of a friend.
Yeah, that's great.
And that's when it really kind of started taking off. And it's exciting to see how big the team has gotten as a result of doing that. So.
Yeah, very cool. That's awesome. Well, and that's how networking works. I think that's a really hard thing to get good at, to schedule classes from classes. I even have a hard time with that sometimes. So that's a really cool. So you just offer an oil to anyone who's willing to book a class right then.
Yes, I do.
And do you give it to them at the class or right then and there?
I give it right then and there.
That's awesome.
So far, it hasn't bitten me. There's one that person has to reschedule still, but the other thing I do is I just share with everybody. Like, I will be in Sprouts and somebody will be looking at oils.
Sprouts.
And
What's Sprouts?
Sprouts is like a Whole Foods.
Okay.
And they'll be looking at oils and I'll say, do you have any questions? I'm an essential oils educator, and I'll start sharing purity issues and all of that with them. And I'll give them samples and I'll invite them to a class. And for one lady, I did this and found out what day she was available, and I just scheduled a class on that day. I said, okay, we're having a class that day. You want to come? So I do that a lot. They sometimes end up as one-on-ones if nobody else can come, but that's okay. So, and also one of my, like to share with everybody. So like there's an online buying site here. There's several of them called Barrage Sale, and there's Beg Barter. And so if I'm buying something from somebody or somebody's buying from me, after we arrange the meeting, I usually say, by the way, do you use essential oils for your family's health care? Would you like a sample? And so I'll bring samples. I try to make it personal. You know, if they'll let me know some health conditions they have. I'll bring them samples. I bring them an invitation to classes, and I explain how to use the oils, and then I just follow up, invite.
Yeah, nice. That's awesome. So no one's off limits. I like that.
No.
That's perfect. Well, some people will say, you know, oh, I've hit a wall. I've invited everyone I know. And it's like, well, then meet new people,
Yeah.
you know, and there's always an opportunity to meet someone. So you just have to put yourself out there.
Yeah.
I like it. Okay, hold on. I had pulled up what I had sent you to, I didn't want to throw too much at you that you didn't prepare for, but can you explain the process of enrolling folks, what that looks like for you?
So it's similar to what I said. So I usually, it always usually starts with sampling, whether it's mailing samples to people or, you know, meeting them, getting samples to them and inviting to classes. I went through my list of enroll of, you know, my team, and I realized that, what did I say here? What was it? Actually, 25% of the people that I've enrolled have not come to a class. I was surprised by that.
Oh, wow.
So some of them I've sampled and just talked to over the phone. Some are in other states. And some I just shared the information and they got enrolled. But the rest of them have come to classes or one-on-ones. And so I have a class. They come to the class, and I invite well. So I really tried to give them an invitation by hand or a text or whatever, and then I send a reminder a few days before. And then I also, this is something I just learned from Tanya's How to Teach a Great Class, was about an hour before they're about to leave, finding a reason to text them. Hey, when you come to my house, feel free to park in the driveway. You know, something like that.
Yeah, right.
To get them there. So inviting well is important, sampling is important, and then having a great class. So I watched a lot of training videos. I watched a lot of other people teaching classes. A lot of those aren't available now because of the FDA stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But before my classes, I would watch a recorded class and I would learn. And I watched a lot of the training videos, and I don't try to reinvent the wheel. There's a lot of good stuff out there. I learn from that. I take it, and I, like Tanya's How to Teach a Great Class, I wrote down all the little bubble points that she had, and I basically have it on a Word document, and I just almost read it when I'm out of class.
Yeah.
Word for word until it becomes comfortable, and that makes a big difference. So I watched like Teresa Harding's How to Close in the beginning. I watched Seth Risame's How to Teach a Perfect Class. I don't think any of these are available, unfortunately. But I just really try to put into practice what the leaders are teaching us. So having a great class, not being afraid to ask at the end. I remember Seth Risame said this, do you want to get a wholesale account? You know, I know at the end of the class, it's always like, for me anyway, it was always this awkward, like, okay, now what? I shared how to get the oils, and, you know, not being afraid to say to somebody, would you like to get a wholesale account? They can say no, or they can tell you why, and then you can help them, you know, whatever. And maybe they want to think about it. And if they want to think about it, what I've been doing recently is if they really seem serious about wanting to get oils, but they want to kind of go home and look everything over, have them fill out the order form all the way down, except for what they want. And then I can just tell them, if I have everything here, you can just text me and tell me what you want or call me. I can just do everything.
Oh, that's really smart. I like that.
So
Yeah.
I'll do that if they're willing to do that. So, and then following up, of course, we know following up is super important. A lot of people enroll at classes, but a lot of people want to think about it. And so I really try to get back to them in a day or two. And to be tenacious without being annoying.
It's a fine line, right?
Yeah, it's a very fine line. And I've had, so an example is this, like when you said nobody's off limits. So I was having a business consultation in Panera, like in the fall. And there was a high school student working there, and he smelled the oils. And he came over and said, oh, I love oils. And gave him samples. And I thought, he's a high school student. I don't know where this is going to go. But gave him samples. He took them home. He wanted to come to a class. So I kept inviting him over several months. He didn't. He finally came last week. He was really interested, but he was like, I don't have any money. I need to talk to my mom. So we set up a one-on-one with his mom, and I did all the same things, reminded, all of that, met with them last night, and I thought, they weren't responding to my reminders, and I thought, surely I'm going to show up and they're not going to be there. But I got there, and I went over, I did a one-on-one with them, and at the end, his mom got the Natural Solutions kit.
Oh, nice.
So I thought, nobody is off limits. Here's a high school student.
No, that's amazing.
So,
wow.
this is, 6 months later. So, never, just don't give up. I mean, until they say, I'm really not interested, I don't obviously keep hugging them. But
I love that too, because it also leads into how fantastic our product is. It appeals to everyone. So, we'll think, oh, well, we just need moms who have small children. That's who our key market is. But it really is not that simple. So I think that's amazing. That's great. I love it. Cool. Okay. So those are very traditional things that you said. I like it. Okay. So you said you've done classes, one-on-ones. Before classes, do you try to give everybody an oil experience? So, you invite somebody with an oil kind of thing, or sorry, house is falling down.
if I can, yes. In where I live, we're kind of spread out a lot, so it's hard for me to drive out if somebody's having a class, to drive all the way over there and give them samples. I have not, up to this point, done that a whole lot. I started doing it more recently. Mm-hmm. But if I meet somebody on the online site, I'll give them samples.
Right.
In a store or wherever. If I can do that, I'll do that. But I try to think of a reason why they'd want to come. Why would they want to come? Do they, if I can share a personal story, or if I know of something about them that would personally benefit them. I know that your daughter struggles with asthma. I'd love to, talk to you about that. Of course, you can't do that on Facebook, but.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm just really assertive, and I was not like that before doTERRA. It's really changed me. I'm not afraid to talk to anybody about oils. When I went to South Padre on vacation, there was a lady in a gift shop, and for whatever reason, we started talking about oils, and I gave her lots of samples, and she called me. I couldn't get in touch with her. She called me actually a week or two later and said, I love this frankincense. It's really helped my arthritis. And she got enrolled, and then and that was just a conversation in a gift shop. She didn't come to a class.
That's great. Yeah.
And she ended up enrolling a friend.
Wow.
So it's just share everywhere. Become the oil lady is what I tell my builders, is just become that person or oil person, you're a man, that people look to. Put it out there on Facebook. This is what you do. And when people are ready, they'll come to you. So
I like it. That's true. Very good. Okay, what do you do for or with all of these new enrollments? So, once they're enrolled, what do you have a process that you go through, or how does that look?
I do now. Membership overviews are huge. I was not doing them in the beginning, and so I need to go back and do that with a lot of people. But they have been really helpful with getting people an LRP, getting builders. So I do that about 1 week out. I also will give new enrollments something like a keychain or a quick reference card for them to keep in their purse, something. And then, so that follow up with how are you doing with your oils, getting them to open the bottles, explaining their membership. And then the 102 classes. So got my oils, now what? Really important. And I've noticed a big difference, the people that I didn't do this with versus the people I'm doing this with now. The people I'm doing it with now, there's more LRPs, there's more, they're using oils more, there's more interest. So also, I always make sure people know that I'm their mentor, that I'm not just going to get them set up with oils and then leave the scene. I have gained 2 people from other people that way, and so I don't want to be that person that loses.
Right.
There's people that have come to me and said, well, somebody got me started with oils, but I don't even know their name anymore, and I never heard from them again.
Right.
So I asked if they could switch their enroller to me. So I don't want to be the person that loses those people. So I try to do a newsletter, send emails, just let people know, have my own Facebook group, let people know about the specials and things like that, and let them know I'm there. I think sometimes I probably let them know I'm there too much. Can you take me off your email list? So there's a fine line for sure. But it's just important to let them know that you're there if they need you.
Yeah, it's like being accessible. That's the key, right?
Yes.
And so what's your rate like with your new people? What's the rate of people who are interested in building?
I was surprised when I did this. It was probably about 18%, which kind of surprised me. Not all of them are building yet, but there's definite interest, and I'm just waiting for them to come on board. So because I believe that they will, and I have one person, I don't know if she's listening in, but she had classes for me over and over and over. In fact, a huge part of my team is from her, and I've said to her, this could have been your team. This could have been your enrollment.
Right. Yeah.
But she had a lot of classes and really helped me get outside my warm market. And then but I know she wanted to get started with the business, so I would just keep asking, are you ready to get your kit? like every month or every couple months. And
so she was having classes and she wasn't even enrolled.
No.
What? If you're listening, oh my goodness.
So she finally got enrolled, and when she got enrolled, she also started, she wanted to share and, cover the cost of her oils. And so I knew that, and she's fabulous, and I was just waiting for her to come around. And that's the same thing, being tenacious, just checking in with people, seeing where they're at in a kind way. And she's, so.
She was ready.
She was ready when she was ready. Yeah.
Well, that brings me to another question. So in most of these situations, and I think it varies, it just depends, but I think I've heard from some people that they never give enrollment to the hostess unless she says, outright, I want to build. And then some people say, okay, I give enrollment to the hostess just because if she gets that fast start, maybe that will inspire her. Is there something that you do, like do you give all the enrollments, or do you offer some other kind of, half of the bonus or anything like that?
I've really just been sticking to hostess gifts. I haven't, if I think somebody's interested in the business, I'll tell them that yes, you can have the enrollments, but I pretty much do gifts. I haven't even done a portion of the sales yet. The gifts have been enough.
So what are those? What kind of gifts do you give?
When I started, it was, smaller things. Or I would give an oil, which I don't know why. One time I gave like a deep blue oil. I don't know what I was thinking. I didn't know what else to do. So, but I've done diffusers, but and usually like a car diffuser or a mini spa diffuser. I'll make a spray, or I'll make a roller bottle that I know would be helpful to them. So just things like that, and they appreciate that. So that's a big help. But if it's somebody who's building and I'm helping them teach, then for sure they get the enrollments.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I think that's a hard lesson to learn. I think sometimes we have these visions of people being builders before they have actually committed to that. So I think that's a really smart way to do it, to, let them tell you they want to build before you make them a builder.
I have done the reverse. I've given enrollments away and I've regretted it later. So yeah, more careful about that now.
Okay, so what kit did the people you enroll usually go for?
For a long time, it was family physician kit. I've had some home essentials, but recently, again, I encourage anybody to watch Tanya's How to Teach a Great Class, because she really stresses the natural solution. She stresses going over all the kits, well, most of them, but the natural solutions kit. And she said, if you only teach to the family physician kit, you're only going to sell family physician kit. So recently, I've been sharing more the natural solutions kit, and actually got 2 people got them in the last 2 weeks. So hopefully that will go up in time as I'm, there's this thing in our minds that we think, oh, they can't afford that. Mm-hmm. I know I did that for a long time. Mm-hmm. In fact, at my first class, I have a friend who was kind of mad at me when she found out that the home essentials kit was a better deal than family physician. She said, why didn't you tell me that? And I'm thinking, I didn't want to, that's too much money, but we shouldn't make that decision for anybody.
Yeah.
That's just, I remember, I think it was Crystal or someone shared that kind of arrogant, to assume that they can't afford it. It's really up to them to decide. And we just present, these are the different kits, and, help them find the one that works the best for them. So we're having more natural solutions kits now.
That's awesome. I think it's true too, when you realize that the value of the home essentials kit or the family physician, or I'm sorry, the natural solutions kit is so high, it makes it much easier to portray that in a way that's not pushy or, you don't want to push people too much. But yeah, when you say, this kit has the most value, so, you don't want to skip over that, because I honestly am mad at Crystal still for not understanding that I could have gotten 100 free PV. But it was early. She didn't know that either. So, but when you understand the value, it goes a long way to what you can sell. So that's really good. Okay. And then these people, of course, New Year, New You probably helps get the LRPs up, but is that something that you're getting better at, getting people? I mean, you've mentioned that a little bit already with membership overviews, but how do you feel about it?
For a long time, I was explaining the Loyalty Rewards program too much at the end of a class, and it got really confusing. And I remember one class of being 20 minutes long trying to explain the Loyalty Rewards. It was bad. But I think they all got on the Loyalty Rewards after that, so maybe it wasn't so bad. But so I try to keep it simple. But I was also surprised. I looked back on my records, and I have about 40% on LRP. And I was surprised at that. Most of them do get started at the class. If they understand the Loyalty Rewards. If not, at some point when I explain it to them, a lot of them, it makes sense. And, if there's people that are going to be ongoing using oils, it makes sense, and then they'll get started. So, but yeah, the New Year, New You has helped a lot. Yeah. So hopefully people won't cancel after they get their 100 free.
Oh no, once you're in, you're in.
You're in, yes.
Okay, so what are your top 3 tips for getting people to enroll?
I have 4, but
good.
Really, and it's kind of stuff I said already. It was really starting with samples, making it personal if possible, inviting well, and then having a great class and follow up until they enroll or they're not interested. So I will keep checking back to see, and I will think of creative ways to do that. And then also follow through is really important. So if you say to somebody, I'm going to call you in 2 days, or I'm going to send you this information, just making sure you do it is really important. For me, my biggest thing when I was trying to think about what I do to get enrollments, honestly, at first I was like, I have no idea. And then I remembered the story. This is really kind of what I do. So I'm a homeschool mom. I have another small business, and I have doTERRA. So I'm busy, like a lot of us. And I'm going to liken it to the story. So when my husband and I were dating, we played this video game together, and it's, I was used to the Atari stick, dating myself, the joystick. And and now it's all these buttons, right? So we were playing this game, and it was like a wrestling game or something. And I was beating him. I was just hitting all these buttons and beating him. And he was like, "You're winning. What is your strategy?" And I was like, "Strategy? I don't have a strategy. I'm just hitting all the buttons." He was kind of upset, and he said, "Well, that's not right. You need to have a strategy." I said, "Well, I'm winning, aren't I?" So my point being, every day I mash all the buttons. I wake up and I think, who can I enroll today? And in my mind, I'm constantly thinking about the business to the point of, it's kind of crazy sometimes. But really, it is my heart and soul. I'm passionate about it. And being passionate is huge too. Like when you're in a class, people see that, whether you're passionate or not. And I've had people say that to me, "Thank you for your passion." And it transfers to them, And anyway, so mashing all the buttons. So I think I will follow up with people. I will invite to classes. I will set up new classes, membership overviews. All day long, it's kind of in the back of my mind. And it makes it hard I get distracted. I want to get better at compartmentalizing my day. But for now, it works. And I just do everything I possibly can in my day. Training, whatever it is, being on top of that, taking advantage of all of the challenges that our leaders do, which are fabulous. They really help. I'm very competitive, so that helped me with all of those challenges too. But mashing all the buttons is my thing. Everything you can possibly do in a day to build your business is what I do, and I just squeeze it in throughout my day. And I wrote down, when I was thinking about this, it's be assertive, be courageous. I experienced an intense amount of fear when I first started, and God has really delivered me from that by just taking the steps, walking through it. It didn't disappear overnight. It just, in a matter of just a few months, I look back and I'm just amazed at the difference in my fear level and my confidence in teaching in front of a group. I just taught at a college recently, and I was up there in my little self was saying, "Who is this person? You're teaching this college class." And as I got over myself, I just got into it and I wasn't as nervous, and it was fabulous. Wasn't really allowed to do any kind of salesy stuff, but I didn't know that. So I just did it.
Oh.
And at the end, I asked the lady in the beginning, I said, "Is there anything I can't do?" "No, it's fine." So at the end, the lady who kind of coordinates said, "Well, this was a little more than I expected. We're not really supposed to sell." She was telling me this as she was filling out her order form to get a kit. So it was awesome. So, ask for forgiveness later. I'm a rule follower, so if they had told me that in the beginning, I wouldn't have done it. But it was a great class. So really just being passionate, being courageous, being tenacious, and warm and genuine. It's really important that people see that you care, that you're passionate. I had a woman today who I sampled again on garage sale, and I kept inviting to classes. She can't come. All of a sudden, I get this private message, "Hey, tell me about the diffuser, and I want to get breathe, and I use oils." And then I talked to her about purity, and she wrote, "I trust you, LOL." And I was like, she doesn't even know me, So
From the garage sale, right?
From the garage sale, and it's like just being that oil lady, showing people that you're knowledgeable, that you're educated, that you're caring, that you're having classes. You'd be surprised how many people come back around.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah.
I love it. Love it. Perfect. Okay. Well, so I'm going to open up. There's a little chat feature, and I'm going to open that up. Everybody, do you see the chat? Somebody already. Oh, okay. Yeah, it's recorded. Sorry, Pam. But if anyone has any specific questions that they want to ask, they can post them in there, and we can get Stephanie to answer them. But yeah, this has been really good. You've hit on all of the key elements of the business, not even just enrolling people. I love it. Is it hot down there right now?
It's beautiful. It's
Is it?
60s, 70s.
Yeah, we literally left Tampa at 4:20 this afternoon and got home at 7. And I was like, "Oh no, what have we done?" I know it's 70 degrees. We got off the plane in our shorts and we're shivering. It was
yeah. Yeah.
Soon enough, it'll be warm here too.
And it'll be boiling hot here.
That's what I kept saying. I was like, it's not like this all the time here. It's miserable in August. So
Yes. Yes.
anyway, yeah, I'm not moving to Florida. There's no
I
danger.
wanted what one thing that I wrote that I do this a lot is I pray. I pray, Lord, please bring me the people that need the oils and the people that need the business.
Yes.
So
And the people that need you. We talked about that at leadership a lot too, is that, sometimes people will, they'll enroll with you, like you were saying, maybe transfer from another enroller, or they'll just random people will come into your lives and they just need you. I mean, you just feel something, and it may be very specific to you. And I think that's a really cool thing to keep in mind too about our businesses, is that, maybe we talk to somebody about the oils and then they enroll with someone else, and, we feel devastated by that. But a lot of times it's just about, that's what they need, or maybe they made a mistake or whatever, but the people who need us and our character and what we have to offer will come to us. It's really cool too. Okay, so from Tammy, watching others teach classes was mentioned. Are there other options for us to watch something like this? That's a good question, Tammy. I'm going to let Stephanie answer, and then I'll jump into if she has anything. Stephanie?
I'd actually like to know that, because like I said, I was watching classes that I can't find anymore. So they were super helpful. I don't know if there are any available to watch, but I would love to provide those to my builders as well. So if there are any, that would be great.
All right, I'll give you my answer. No, unfortunately, I think a lot of them are missing. I think we're going to see more coming about because the FDA restrictions, we sort of have, I think, reached the other side and are moving into a phase where we can start putting more of that out there, and just doing it in more of a compliant way. I will say, though, I try to offer classes on a regular basis, and I'm not sure if Tanya does or Crystal does, but online webinars have been one of my favorite things to do and to reach people in faraway places. Most of those were recorded, and then I had to take them down. So if you private message some of us, we might have things that we can send to you, or watch for classes to come up that are online, that are not recorded necessarily, but are live, like this webinar that you can listen into. But again, if your upline is close, then make sure you're going to their classes and anything that they have. We have these continuing education classes going on here. And if you're not coming to those, make sure you are, because not only do you learn about the topic, but you learn just ways to talk about the oils, and it really broadens your horizons of who you can reach out to with those oils. And Stephanie was talking about being knowledgeable, and if you're missing out on those continuing educational opportunities, then you're not getting that well-rounded knowledge base. But I will say that I was like Stephanie too in the very beginning. I didn't have someone to watch again and again and again. I watched Tanya do it the first time, and there was somewhere out on the internet, there was a outline or some class that you could go through the PowerPoint of. I think it was just on doTERRA tools, and I'll see if I can find something like that. And then I just wrote my own notes. And so it was something that I had to, every time I was reading my notes. And there were two reasons. One, so that I wouldn't forget to say important things, but also so I wouldn't get too off track, because my first couple of classes may have been 2 or 3 hours long. But so having something and really just writing it down for yourself is going to be the key element in all of this. You've heard bits and pieces from all of us. And if you have the Nature's Medicine Cabinet form, I hope you know what I'm talking about, or one of the Natural Solutions form. Really everything you need to say is on there. And if you have one of those and write your own notes on it, you can just keep reusing it and fixing your class as you go. But like Stephanie said, mash all the buttons. Just go out there and start teaching once you have something just in your hands. And I will be on the lookout for some recorded options for us, because that is helpful, definitely. But just attend all the classes your upline does too is a good thing to do. Okay, so Dinah Decker, hello. She says, hi, do you mail samples to friends or family? I'm not sure of any possible drug interactions. So Stephanie, do you want to answer that a little bit?
Sounds like two different questions. Yeah, I mail a lot of samples out to people that are out of state. And I even had one person who's had a lot of health issues, and when I mention oils to him, because people post their health conditions on Facebook all the time. So I used to kind of stalk Facebook. And when I saw that, I would either post there, but then that was in compliance, so then I would send them a private message. And I would ask them if they want samples, and a lot of them do. And one guy said, you know, a lot of people have offered things to me, but nobody sent me samples like you did. You put money to the whatever, wherever it is. I ended up enrolling and orders oils regularly. So
Nice.
I do sample people a lot, and by mail. And as far as drug interactions, yeah, it's important to ask people, you know, if they're on medications. The Modern Essentials book is really helpful with different oils and safety information and things like that. I know that the files also has information on drug interactions, and it kind of explains how medications work versus oils. Or oils, you know, produce homeostasis, and medication kind of pushes your body in one direction. So, and Lacey may be able to explain that better. But so I do talk to people about that when it comes up, because it's important for them to understand that their body may, like high blood pressure, for instance, they may feel funny if they're using oils and medication. They need to be monitored. You know, if that's the case, and hopefully they can decrease their meds. So.
There is a list in the files too of the usage groups. I think most of them have this link to where it talks about interactions. For the most part, I think one of the main, there are a couple, you know, what was the blood pressure? You know, if your blood pressure is getting regulated, but you're taking medication for high blood pressure, then your dosage could get to be too high. And I know that there's been some back and forth about frankincense when you're on chemo or things like that. So it's very individual too. So you're going to have to, it's going to depend on the person, but there are some documents out there, and again, like Stephanie said, doing some diving is a good idea for if you're talking about doing it for someone else. It's a good idea for yourself. You know, you always want to second check things. And a lot of times, though, the best thing to do is to write to product support at doTERRA.com with specific questions like that, specific scenarios. So they'll always have a good response. And Stephanie, where in Texas are you?
Right outside of Houston, Cypress.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Sarah Muncie says, hi, Stephanie. So I remember meeting you last year at Elite Retreat, and you were talking about how you didn't have any builders yet. Haha, she's laughing. And I'm so happy to see where you are now. All that said, can you talk about how or if those types of training events helped you and your business?
Those training, highly, highly motivating. It was really, for me, being in Texas and not having my upline here, and starting my business from scratch. It was just really huge for me to be surrounded by other people that are doing the same thing, and to meet our leaders, hear from our leaders. So if I could go to that Elite Retreat, I would. The one that's coming up, I would so go. I thought about doing a road trip to get there, but I just can't. So it's very helpful. There's a lot of tips that you hear there. There's just something about the bonding too, of, you know, not having that here. There were a lot of moments of discouragement along the way where I thought, I only just had somebody to talk to who was doing what I'm doing, you know, or getting together or going to those meetings that you guys are having, or if I could see somebody else teach, you know, or it was a kind of a lonely place to be, but I still just through. I'm a pretty highly driven person. I'm a person that thinks the year is going to go by anyway. I might as well make the most of it. And so, you know, I don't know why I'm saying that. I'm getting off track. But yeah, basically, anything you can do to motivate yourself to get together with other people, to have that fellowship, it's so, so encouraging and motivating. And yeah, it definitely. I remember you, Sarah. It definitely helped me come back.
Pretty unforgettable.
And honestly, within a few months after that retreat, I had builders. They're probably listening right now. And one of them was somebody I sampled on that garage sale site that I talked about. She loved peppermint so much, she called me back and said, "What is this?" Anyway, she's a builder now. So yes, I think they're highly, highly motivating and worth it. So
good. And then Jamie's asked, is Tanya's class available, How to Teach a Great Class? Yes, it is. It's
Yeah.
linked in several different places. We'll find it and post it in the comments of this. But anyway, that was fantastic. I'm inspired to go and have some classes. What'd you say?
Match all the buttons.
That's right, mash out. Oh, wait, there's more. Write product support at my doTERRA. It's product support at doTERRA.com. So product support at doTERRA.com. How do you get people to actually show up at classes? Do you offer samples or a drawing or anything like that?
That is a really good question. I, along with everybody else, have had no-shows. And it's important, if you have a no-show, to just do something else for the business during that time. Watch a training video, follow up with people. If they can't come to the class, say, would you like to do a one-on-one? Can you come to another class? But to get them to show up, I think the first thing to do, even before that, is to sample them well. Find out what their health concerns are and sample them with something. And if there aren't any, definitely sample them with peppermint. That's the first step, and just try to find something personal to them, why they'd want to come. And I invite everybody I can think of. I text people. I actually text more than I call. Honestly, calls, people don't answer the phone. They don't listen to their voicemail half the time. So I do a lot of texting and just reminders. And I try to assume as much as possible that they're coming without being rude about it. How do I say that? If they give an inclination that they're coming, you kind of can say, I look forward to seeing you at the class, and something that would draw them. But I don't know if there's an exact science. I think sampling well, inviting well, giving them a reason to come, making sure that they understand that this is not just another product party, that's not Mary Kay or something like that. It's educational. I saw somebody post this somewhere. I loved it. It's educational and empowering. That they would just give them a reason to come, and that you're not just trying to sell them something, but you really want to benefit their lives.
Mm-hmm. Very good. All right. Well, that's great. I think that's all the questions we have. And that was a lot of really good information that I think we all need to go home and digest, or stay at home and digest. Love meetings like this. I'm in my pajamas already. Well, thank you so much, Stephanie. That was awesome. Your hair is adorable. I don't think it was.
Oh, thanks.
I love it. And we hate that you're not coming to Elite Retreat. That's a major bummer, but hopefully we'll see you again soon. And that's it. Yay!
Yay! Thank you.
All right. Have a great night.
You too.